Good afternoon and welcome. This webinar is brought to you by the St. John Paul II National Shrine. My name is Dr. Daniel Meola and I work in the Mission and Ministry Office at the Shrine. I'll be serving as your host and moderator for today's webinar. Thank you for joining us. Today, we'll be featuring not just one or two, but three members of the wonderful L'Arche community of Greater Washington, D.C., Luke Smith, Eileen Schonfield, and Laura Heiman. Luke Smith began his journey in L'Arche when he was 13, and his calling to join L'Arche was realized in 2010 as one of the founding assistants of L'Arche Greater Washington, D.C.'s fourth home, located in Arlington, Virginia. In 2011, Luke spent 4 months living in L'Arche, London, before returning to Greater Washington to take on a leadership role in the Virginia homes, and is now the community leader and executive director of L'Arche of the Greater Washington, D.C. region. Luke is Irish and grew up in England and hails from a diverse and multicultural hometown of Wolverhampton. Luke studied geography at a university in Wales, focusing on the development of communities and the geography of disability. Prior to coming to L'Arche, Luke was active with Faith and Light, L'Arche's sister organization, and taught high school students with disabilities in New Jersey. Eileen Schonfield lives in DC. She likes to draw and color, go on walks, and watch her cooking shows. Her favorite cooking show is Guy's Grocery Games. She is an artist and works as the friendship builder at the L'Arche Greater Washington, D.C. office, creating designs for use in their communications materials and conducting outreach with volunteers, donors, and students. She also works as an artist at Art Enables, an art gallery and vocational arts program, and volunteers at Potter's House, a coffee shop and community center in DC. Laura Heiman is originally from rural Kansas and attended the University of Notre Dame. She was first introduced to L'Arche through a friend and experienced L'Arche for the first time in 2015 by spending 8 weeks volunteering in the community. She returned to L'Arche after her graduation and has been living in the community for almost 3 years. Laura is a home life leader in one of the DC homes. She loves living in DC and has really enjoyed the trails of Rock Creek Park lately. She enjoys spending time outside, talking to friends and family, drinking a good cup of coffee, and going on adventures. Luke, Eileen, and Laura will be speaking on the gospel of life and accompanying persons with disabilities. We will have a question and answer period at the end of this webinar, so please be sure to type your questions in the Q&A box below. We will do our best to get through as many of them as possible. So let's get started. And now, Luke, Eileen, and Laura, welcome.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Good to see you all. So I'd like to start with the first question. Just what is about L'Arche in general? Luke, can you please tell me a little bit about L'Arche's work, especially with persons with intellectual disabilities?
Yeah, thanks, Dan, and thanks for this opportunity to highlight L'Arche. So L'Arche is a community of faith. It's an intentional community centered around supporting people with intellectual disabilities. It's a community where we recognize the unique and sacred value of each person. And it's a community that is across the world. So we were founded here in DC in 1983, and there are communities across the US and across the world. Across all of the communities, we share the same identity statement, which is that we are people sharing life together in communities, and trust and prayer in God is at the heart of our journey together. And we celebrate the unique value of every single person. And our mission is to make known the gifts of people with intellectual disabilities. And we do that through mutually transforming relationships. Like I said, we're founded here in 1983, founded internationally in the 1960s. And we're done so by a man named Jean Vanier, who some of your viewers may know due to the recent findings of an independent investigation about him. And more information can be found at L'Arche International's website about that investigation. Laura and Eileen, how would you describe the rest of our life together?
Yeah. Well, I do the things I want to do, and I can't go outside, but I stay indoors.
Yeah, I've been living here in L'Arche for about almost 3 years now, as Dan was saying earlier. And yeah, I think a lot of the things that we do as a community are, Eileen, what are some of the things that we get to do in L'Arche that Luke hasn't mentioned?
Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and all of that.
Yeah, we have a lot of parties. We like to celebrate, so those are some things. We even like to make up fake holidays. So today our house is celebrating fake Thanksgiving, just to mix things up in the middle of COVID. So we're looking forward to that.
And what is some more of your routine, Eileen, that you do on a regular basis? Do you do some work, some art?
Yeah, I do some work, some art, and go outside and go on walk.
Where do you like to walk to?
I like to walk from my jobs and stuff.
Kind of around the neighborhood?
Yeah, kind of around the neighborhood.
Yeah. Do you want to maybe share a little bit about what your day has looked like today so far?
Yeah, my work look like I've been sorting out my work.
Do you want to share some of your work with everybody?
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit more about what work is for you?
Yeah.
So 3 days of the week, where do you go to work?
I'll go to work at Potter House and to the office.
And then also sometimes Art Enables?
Yeah, sometimes at all the neighbors.
And usually when you're at the office, what are you working on? What's your role at the office?
Friendship builder.
What does that usually mean for you?
That means go out and visit people and talk to them.
Talk a little bit about L'Arche.
Talk about L'Arche.
Yeah. And currently, since everybody's working from home, this has kind of become your office.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You've been working on some good thank you cards.
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe show some of the thank you cards? Yeah.
Yeah. See?
That's beautiful. What is that a drawing of?
A tree.
I love the colors.
Yeah.
Do you have another piece of artwork? Oh, that is beautiful. Again, I love the colors. Was there an inspiration behind that second drawing?
Yeah.
It looks like one of your buildings.
Yeah.
What? Any specific building or just one in general?
This in general.
Somebody from the audience said, can you show the second drawing again? They couldn't see that. The building one. People are loving your artwork.
Looking good. Yeah.
Okay, hopefully people saw it. It might have been because I was speaking. Oh, you know what? They said that you need to talk while showing the artwork. Can you do it one more time? Sorry about that. People really want to see your art. So if you could talk.
You want to just talk about your art while you're holding it up?
Yeah. This one is about the building, and this one is about the trees.
You really like drawing the trees, right?
Yeah.
They make a frequent appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I love the joy that you're living. Is there other ways you're keeping joy during this quarantine?
Yeah.
How are we finding joy, Eileen? I've personally been really enjoying all of the baked goods that you've been baking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we have some dance parties in the middle of baking together.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do we do that I've been happy?
We've been watching the television on we've been watching we've been watching a lot of things.
Yeah, sometimes we have movie nights. We've been enjoying the musicals lately.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
We've been having some TED Talks.
Yeah, TED Talk.
You and I got to talk about raising chickens.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, can you tell me about that? That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we started out by showing pictures of little baby chickens.
Yeah.
And then you talked a lot about why you love chickens.
Yeah.
Do you want to share about that?
Yeah. I like chicken on the bone, and that's why I eat it.
Chicken on the bone is a really important meal and staple at this house.
That's excellent. I love it. Thank you. You're really showing the face of gospel gladness, which is a theme we've been focusing on at the Shrine. We have a separate video about that, but you just are a perfect representation of the gospel gladness, Eileen. So thank you. Now you've talked a little bit about the joy. I was wondering if, Laura and Eileen, can you describe to our audience some of the major challenges facing people with intellectual disabilities, both spiritual and material?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right. One of the challenges that I've been facing a lot lately has been, I don't know if any of you have realized, the season's greatest accessory, this mask. And we're all wearing masks to keep each other safe and to keep healthy. And at the same time, it's really one of our primary forms of communication is by talking and facial expressions. So sometimes I make a joke, and Eileen, maybe you don't know that I'm meaning it to be a joking thing, and the joke doesn't land. So sometimes I think I'm funny, but I'm actually not, right? But wearing masks all the time is definitely one of the challenges that I've been facing. Eileen, you were sharing a little bit about walks earlier.
Yeah.
I wonder if you might want to talk a little bit more about walks and how those have been kind of hard too lately.
Yeah, I can. Well, I can't go outside right now and take a walk, but that's what I can't do.
Well, usually when we go on walks, we have to try to keep really far away from other people.
Yeah.
We try to keep 6 feet away.
Yeah.
Which can be really hard because and you can't really move very far out of other people's way when you're using a walker or a wheelchair when you're walking around.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of hard.
Yeah.
And I think in general, sometimes accessible places to go with adaptive equipment like walkers or wheelchairs are definitely challenges that people with disabilities face, even outside of times of COVID. Yeah, and I think it's kind of been an added challenge as the only time that we're able to be outside together, or outside of the house rather, is by using sidewalks. And if the sidewalks aren't accessible, or if we're not able to utilize them, there's really nowhere for us to go. So.
Thank you for sharing. Luke, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, I think that this time brings about a number of questions for us as a community, and in terms of supporting people with intellectual disabilities. That those questions are often underlying much of the work that we do, but they've been brought to the surface. So at the beginning of the outbreak, the conversations around delineations of who would get access to ventilators and who would get access to healthcare, those are questions that are still that are pertinent to our everyday life. Our healthcare system isn't often set up to be supportive to people with intellectual disabilities, that doctors sometimes don't have an awareness of how best to support someone with an intellectual disability, and often don't address the questions to the patient, meaning the person with intellectual disabilities, but rather to their caregiver or family member who's in the room with them. So some of those things are being brought out in this, which is really helpful to shed light onto those matters. And this sense of isolation that Eileen and Laura, who live together, get to share in, but that awareness that there are many people in our world today who experience isolation, who live with the experiences of intellectual disabilities. And the combination of other people maybe not wearing masks, or lack of equipment to support people with intellectual disabilities to be safe, and then the opening up of things and the questions around healthcare can create a really hard environment for people to determine, is it safe and should they be going outside and how best to be going outside. So I'm really thankful that we as a community and other communities across the world and across the nation get to sit with these questions, but they're often very present for the experiences of people with intellectual disabilities outside of the virus. How can I be me, and is the world going to be welcoming of what I need right now? Is the world going to see me as a person with an intellectual disability? So it's been an interesting time to live with those questions.
Yeah, and can you elaborate a little bit more too about the spiritual needs of persons with intellectual disabilities? You mentioned community, but is there something else you could elaborate on?
So can I talk first, Eileen, and then you and Laura share?
Yeah.
Great. So it's been really interesting for us because prayer and trust is at the heart of our journey together. It's in our identity. And for us, prayer is a communal act often. It can be contemplative, it can be personal, but it's often a contemplative act. And we find ourselves being really creative as a community. So how do we have dinner when we can't have everyone around the same table? Well, we use Zoom. And dinner is a prayerful act for us. It's the moment where we come to celebrate the end of the day, the gratefulness that we have for one another, the gratitude that we have for what we've experienced, and time to reflect. So it's been interesting to learn how to do that in our homes. We have monthly prayer nights. And it's interesting for us to have learned to have gone from those prayer nights being in person to now being online. And we have far more people coming to our prayer nights online than we ever did having them in person, which is a great reality that people need L'Arche. People seek to find comfort in prayer and solace, inspiration in L'Arche. And we need that too, that sense of isolation. We want to see our friends. We want to see the people who we miss and we love, and pray with them. And praying for those people who we recognize that there are large communities in the world where people have been deeply impacted by coronavirus. And so we've been praying for them and thinking about how best to support those people. So yeah, the prayer life, the spiritual life of the community continues, and giving time and shape and space for that to be free in this moment has been really helpful to welcome those as opportunities. But I know that Eileen and Laura, such things as TED Talks and Thanksgiving today have been going on. So what else have we been doing as a community to help our spiritual life?
Well, Eileen, we usually get to hang out together on Sundays.
Yeah,
What are some of the things we do on Sundays?
we had church.
We still get to go to church. Usually we set it up with the live stream on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how we've been praying after dinner?
Yeah. After dinner, we've been not seeing each other. We're not sitting together with each other.
Yeah, so we've had to kind of be a little bit spaced out to keep each other safe. So we've been lighting candles at each of the spots that everybody's sitting at and kind of trying to speak loud enough that everybody can hear our prayers through both of the rooms that we scatter about in. And how else have we been finding time to pray? That's about it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing about that. I think that's an important part of the gift of Christian accompaniment is praying together. And I love how you're persevering through these difficult times and using candles and Zoom and all the creativity. I love it. So thank you. Now, I'm also wondering, John Paul II also talks in the Gospel of Life about having a contemplative outlook. And one of the ways he describes that is accepting reality as not just something to take, have possession of, but rather to receive as a gift. So Eileen, I wonder if you could tell me a little bit about how your life is a gift.
My life is a gift by giving people hugs and talking to them and going out with them.
Yeah, Eileen, do you mind if I share a little bit more about those gifts that you kind of named?
Yeah.
I feel like you're always one of the first people to ask, how are you doing today, my friend? Anytime I see you when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
I feel like you really care about those people around you. If anybody's saying they're feeling a little under the weather, you always
Yeah.
follow up with them and ask how they're doing the next day.
Yeah.
You always try to help out the house. You've been really helping us keep the house clean lately.
Yeah.
Any other ways that you think that you're a gift, or you know that you're a gift?
Yeah, I take out the recycling.
Super helpful.
Luke, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think about how you, Eileen, and other core members in community. And so core member, it comes from the French meaning the heart, or core family members. So the people with intellectual disabilities and our relationships with people with intellectual disabilities are at the heart of our journey together. And I think about how you, Eileen, remind me of so many of the gifts that there are in our world. And you too, Laura. And I was thinking about the link between prayer and this part of giftedness, and how in the midst of all of this, we still continue to celebrate people's birthdays. And that's a big part of who we are as a community, is to stop and celebrate the welcomes, the farewells, the anniversaries, and the birthdays. And I'm really mindful of how that has really solidified and grounded us in these moments of change, that we are continuing to still celebrate the birthdays. We're continuing to still celebrate the anniversaries. And it's often people like you, Eileen, and others who remind me of it's okay to have my gifts named. I think there's something about our humanness that says, well, we should shy away from having our gifts named or to name our own gifts. But no, we are of unique and sacred value, and we should know the God-given gifts that each one of us has, and be able to share those gifts and stand with the recognition that they are given to us by God. They're given to us as unique and sacred beings, and that they're for the good of all. And so I'm mindful of how there's something that happens in L'Arche, I think, at least for me. When I first came, I did not want my birthday celebrated. It felt odd to be celebrated, to sit there and have people in the room who some of them I had never met before say, this is the gift that I think, this is the gift that you bring to me, or this is the gift that you bring to community. But I think that's what we should be doing for everyone. I think that we should be able to say, you are a gift. You're a gift because of what you bring to the earth. You're a gift because of what you bring to our community. And we'd be changed without you. We'd be less without you. So that reality is something that I have learned, that mutuality, that the ability for you, Eileen, to say that taking the recycling out is a gift. I don't take the recycling out enough in my house. My wife takes the recycling out. But I should be more thankful to Caitlin for saying, thanks for taking the recycling out, because that's a gift. So it's a good reminder of the dignity of the daily. It's not the extraordinary. It's the ordinary acts of kindness, of love that we can take for granted that are really important to recognize God's love for us and love for one another.
It's beautiful. I love the phrase, the dignity of the daily. And this also segues a little bit. I love how you said about like, we need to see each other's gifts and name them out loud. I mean, that affirmation is just so healing and powerful, and because that's what our Heavenly Father does. He affirms us. So speaking of which, how do you help people outside of L'Arche value the lives and the contributions of persons with intellectual disabilities? Anybody can answer this, Eileen or Laura, whoever would like to go first.
I think about one of the, if I may, Eileen, can I go first?
Yeah.
I think about the sign that L'Arche is. The last line of our mission is to work toward a more human society. And often people can say, well, isn't it a more humane society? You've missed an E or you've pronounced it wrong. Like, no, it's a more human society. It's a society where we recognize the dignity that is inherent within each person. Just as being a human, as being a person, that there is a deep dignity there. And often our world can remove that dignity. So through being people who go out into the world, who share our gifts, who from our very beginning, we are people we are people. We, from our identity statement, we are people. We have gifts, we have dignity. We're of unique value, and we need to share that. That puts us in a place where we're able to then feel that and feel empowered to go out. A big part of who we are as an international movement is to go out. Actually, in our governing period for the next 5 years is to go out, is to go and share who we are across the world, and to bring the good news of L'Arche, the good news of God's love for us, of Jesus, to our brothers and sisters, to the people around us, to our neighbors who need our help, to model welcoming of the other, to being making sure we put our trash cans back away, to make sure we're good neighbors, to parking on the right side of the street. And it's incredible how much of an impact. Last year we had over 1,300 visitors to our homes, to who came and experienced it. And we went out to hundreds of people, and we shared over 600 times where we can share the mission of L'Arche. And it's often the embrace, the words of Eileen and other core family members and other core members who inspire others to change, who inspire others to go and say, yeah, I don't know that person who I walk by each day, but I need to say hi because we see each other more than I see my own family. And there is a moment of human connection, of human contact, that is the dignifying, that is the gift. So that's how I see small parts of what we do. But Eileen is our friendship builder, and she leads us in so much of this.
Yeah. I go out and see other people and talk to them.
Do you
Do
see
you help them see God in themselves in some way?
Yeah.
do you want to think that you have anything specific that you're thinking of right now of helping people see God?
Yeah,
How do you do that?
I talk to them and hug them and everything.
I think that you show others that they are loved by God by showing your own love to them.
Yeah.
This is how I've experienced anyways.
And I think you teach people, Eileen.
Yeah, I do.
Teach people how to live a life where they're seen and they're remembered and known. And I think about how your art does that for so many people. Receiving a card that's drawn by you, and that it builds a relationship, it builds a friendship, that they recognize that they're known and they're seen. And I think a big part of our work is to recognize that each person needs to be known and seen, and that there is a value in each person.
So speaking about the value in each and every person, one of the things the Gospel of Life talks about is the necessary solidarity amongst all persons, including persons with intellectual disabilities. So could you maybe say a word about how people like me can be in better solidarity with L'Arche and with other persons with intellectual disabilities?
Yeah. You can come over and visit us.
We do like having visitors and friends and people who've never heard about L'Arche or wanting to learn more about L'Arche come over and spend time with us when it's safe, and we're looking forward to being able to do that again as soon as we're able. How are other ways that people kind of help us out, Eileen?
By buying our groceries.
We have had a lot of people dropping our groceries off for us lately. That's been a huge gift, helping us keep as safe as possible. What other things?
And they're just dropping our lunches off.
We also have some lunches dropped off for us.
Yeah, because we can't go out.
Yeah. When we are able to have people, we have a really steady stream of volunteers and friends who have really deep relationships with us that have come and dropped off dinner and shared dinner with us, kind of invited friends to dinner with them, and kind of learned more about L'Arche, and then maybe shared a little bit about L'Arche with other people. Yeah. Anything else we need to add?
We're doing good. Staying at home and keeping ourselves safe.
I agree. We are doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Luke, I don't know if you had any ideas about the solidarity piece.
Yeah, I'm mindful of a much broader piece here around supporting people with intellectual disabilities. And I referenced earlier about the isolation that many people have, and how this moment in time has really brought that out. It's heightened that. It's made some people feel even more removed. I'm mindful of one of my favorite phrases of, you know when you belong when you know you are missed. And I wonder how many people know that they are missed right now. People with intellectual disabilities know that they are missed. And I wonder how many people without intellectual disabilities have missed seeing the person who they may have seen with an intellectual disability, or someone who they wouldn't normally be spending time with or speaking to. Are we missing those people? Because we need people in our world. We need to see those others who we may not know. We need to be able to welcome the other, and in that way, we as the other are also welcomed. We as the person without an intellectual disability are welcomed. Pragmatically, there's different ways to help us as a community. We do need your support. Our community is experiencing increased needs to ensure that we can survive and keep the dailiness, the things that bring beauty to our lives and bring, I believe, truly bring beauty to our world. So if people want to, our website, l'Arche-GWDC.org, you could make a donation there. But I'm also aware of the national experience for L'Arche. So there's also, depending on where you are, there may be a L'Arche community near you. So L'Arche USA. And then across the world, there are communities who are in real need, who don't have the support of government funding or don't have the support of philanthropy local to them, who are really impacted by this and will continue to be impacted over many years to come because of this. And so checking out L'Arche International, because there are different ways to support L'Arche International. I'm also mindful as a community for people to be praying with us, and praying with us, for us, but also with us that we can work toward a more human society. And that from this moment that we can bring a gospel of life, we can recognize the life that is needed in all of the richness of human experience. And that is present in our neighborhoods. It's present today. We just sometimes cannot see it. And so to pray with us that we can be more aware of that, and we can be more welcoming of each one of us, and that we can be seen and needed, and that we feel comfortable recognizing our gift to be seen and needed.
Thank you, Luke. And speaking of prayer, you said people can join you virtually as well. How would they go about doing that?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. So the first Tuesday of the month at 6:30, if you go, there's a link on our social media pages. So if you search L'Arche GWDC, L'Arche GWDC, there's links to how to sign up for prayer night. And there's also another event, and we're very excited for this because talking about this connection, our new video, we have this new video and Laura and Eileen are in it, and we really want to share it because it really speaks to this connection of people reaching out, a particular story in our community. And so in June 25th, we're going to be sharing that at a special event. And so you can once again go to L'Arche, LARCHE-GWDC.org, and you'll see a link there to a special event where we're going to launch the video. I'm really excited because I'm mindful of how people are crying out to be connected, crying out to see one another and to experience the positivity that I think L'Arche can bring, the reality that L'Arche lives daily. And so I'm excited for that opportunity. But yeah, first Tuesday of the month at 6:30 is our prayer night online right now.
Thank you. I look forward to that. I want to join. Okay, now we're going to take some questions from the audience. And the first question is for Eileen. I read a Catholic news agency article in which it shared that L'Arche communities in DC are playing spatula baseball. Have you been participating in that? Has that been joyful for you?
Yeah.
I think that the spatula baseball piece was more one of the other houses, but I think that we've been doing the TED Talks a lot, right, Eileen?
Yeah.
I think that article maybe mentioned a little bit about the TED Talks our house has been doing. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're very creative when it comes to finding things to throw around and hit in our homes. Baseballs, pieces of paper.
I love it. I love the creativity. Next question. This is also for Eileen. Eileen, you're very popular. Eileen, do you recognize the St. John Paul II shrine mosaics behind me? Because you have been there. What do you like about this shrine? I think this might be from one of my colleagues.
Because I see Jesus.
Oh, you're on mute.
And I see Mary behind you. And Joseph. And I like them.
Yeah, I feel like you've been to the shrine a lot, huh?
Yeah.
There was a time you went with Luke and Sarah.
Yeah.
I think you took a selfie with the statue there?
Yeah.
All of you together?
Yeah.
Can you maybe share again what you liked about it? Because I think the first part maybe got cut off because it was on mute.
I like it because I like,
We're talking about the picture.
yeah, the picture of it.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing, Eileen. It's especially meaningful compliment to me because I know you're an artist who has beautiful artwork yourself. So that means a lot that you like our art as well. And we hope to see you as soon as possible.
Okay.
The next question is, how difficult it is to explain and understand the current COVID-19 situation amongst the residents? Can you say more about this?
Yeah, I think it's complex for everyone. The newspaper will say one thing one day and the next thing the other day. So the struggle of finding a path in all of this, in knowing how to respond, has been challenging at times, but I think that's the same for everyone. I'm mindful of how we as a community really want people to be engaged in making the choices to how to respond. So I know that as this has gone on, we've done different things in our homes to make, so Eileen and Laura talked about the dinner table and how we've moved things around. So that's one of the ways that we've been doing that. And it's also been really helpful to think about what we can be doing. So what can we be doing right now? There's a number of things we can't do, and that sometimes seems like an ever-growing list, but what can we be doing? And I think about how you, Eileen, and Laura and others have really lent into TED Talks in our own homes about such things as chickens. Like, no one would have thought that we'd be doing that 6 months ago. Like, why would we be doing that? Well, because we're creative people. So I wonder what else you've been doing, Eileen and Laura. How have we been learning about this virus?
Well, I think it's made me personally a lot more aware of how the responsibility of trying to keep everybody safe and healthy is really a group effort. And it takes all of us to really make sure that we're doing our part and wearing our masks, washing our hands. What do you think, Eileen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you think of other ways that we've been kind of creative? Oh, we did a stay-at-home Popeyes feast one day.
Yeah.
You want to share about that?
Yeah. Deborah wanted to go out and we couldn't go out. So we did a Popeyes up here one day and we had lunch up here.
Fresh biscuits, some chicken on the bone,
everything.
some Popeyes newspaper hats.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
You even ordered.
Yeah.
The person behind the counter said, "It's on me.
Yeah.
You don't even need your money."
Yeah.
That was a pretty fun day.
Yeah.
Any other fun things that we've been doing while we've been staying home?
Well, we've been doing cooking.
Lots of cooking.
Yeah.
You've been very helpful with that.
Yeah.
We might be trying to do something to commemorate the Olympics here soon.
Yeah.
Knowing that they've been canceled, but we might try to do an in-home Olympics. So if anybody has any ideas, send them our way.
Send them our way.
Eileen, what Olympic sport are you looking forward to do?
Running.
We did talk about running laps around the middle of the house.
Yeah.
Penny races would be fun.
Yeah.
See how far you can throw a penny. That might get dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, I love the joy, and the next person wants to give you a compliment. She says, this is from Lori, "Please let Eileen and Laura know they are reaching many people right now. I know I will share this webinar around the United States. Eileen, is truly an ambassador right now. Cyber hugs, and she is going to cross thousands of miles. So thank you. Eileen, I wonder if you could say something. What would you say is somebody to encourage them right now, another person with intellectual disabilities? Is there something you'd like to say?
Yeah. Tell them I like to hug them and see them more.
I have been a huge fan of your pep talks throughout the years.
Yeah.
Whenever I've just been having a really hard day.
Yeah.
Do you think you could give a kind of pep talk to people right now?
Yeah.
Being strong throughout this hard time?
Yeah.
Into your hands.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about that?
I hope nobody don't get sick. Cause one of my people downstairs, he doesn't feel well.
Yeah, it's really important to try to stay healthy at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other advice or encouragement that you might want to offer people?
I want to offer people and I want to write them a letter or something.
It's a great idea.
Wonderful. Maybe you could take a picture of one of your thank you cards or something, and we could share it on our social media.
Yeah.
Okay, we would love to do that. Okay, last question. Luke, Laura, and Eileen, what should people do if they are interested in living in the community as an assistant or being a volunteer? Does L'Arche need more assistance? What is it like to be an assistant? Smiley face from Laura.
They're
talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, we are muted. We are not muted. Yeah, I think that in an ideal world, everybody can find a job that doesn't really feel like a job. So that's, I think, the primary feeling of being an assistant most days for me. It's really nice to be able to be with a group of people, to be trusted so deeply in helping support them in various needs, and to be cared for so deeply. I've been a huge recipient of the factor of mutuality in this life here in L'Arche, and I've really received a lot from all of my housemates and definitely other members of the community in sharing life in this way.
Yeah, there is a very big need across the states and across the world for more L'Arche assistants. So if people are interested in becoming a L'Arche assistant, then one way would be to come to us if they want to think about coming to join L'Arche GWDC. But lots of L'Arche communities are in need of assistance, and assistants' roles have really changed at this time to become direct support professionals, direct healthcare workers often, in ensuring that people are safe and people are kept safe and that their well-being is fine in light of the virus, which has really exposed just the work that assistants are doing day in, day out. And really want to affirm all of the assistants in our community and across the communities for the work that they're doing to make sure that can happen. And yeah, we're always in need of more assistants and more volunteers. We can never have too many friends, to Laura's point, that you may come as an assistant to do a task that you think you're coming to do, but then we're changed. Through mutual transformation, we become changed to become people who are a lot more aware of our giftedness, a lot more aware of our gift, a lot more aware of our need, that we are needed as assistants, and open to sharing that need and receiving the need of others. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing to be an assistant. And we need them. So if you're close to a L'Arche community, check out if they have a need, or if you're looking to where they are, you can look on the L'Arche USA website, or if you want to come directly to us, then come directly to us.
Okay, I know I said that was my last question, but this one hopefully is a quick one. So somebody wants to know, are the residents writing posts or blogs where they're sharing stories of encouragement? If so, where?
Yeah, we on our website and our Facebook posts, and we have a newsletter that goes out often that details that. And just this weekend, there was a story about us being a community, but we're 6 feet apart. We're the 6 feet apart. So yes, there's often lots of experiences of us, of our lives being shared through word and through image. So yes, please reach out, please check us out, and other communities too. There's some wonderful stuff coming across. L'Arche really is a place of creativity, and it's been really beautiful to have this moment in time to spotlight that creativity, because so many other things we're not doing. We're not going to work in other places. We're at home, or we're where we are, and we're spending time to develop new games like Spatula Ball, but also to think about how to be sharing who we are, and that is our mission, to work toward that more human society. How have you been sharing your creativity, Eileen? How have you been sharing that?
I've been sharing that at home.
I feel like you've been helping us all be a little more creative and making drawings and posting them all over the house.
Yeah.
Decorating for things like fake Christmas and fake Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making hand washing videos for fun.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
That's all I can think about.
That's all we got.
That's all we have.
Well, that was great. And I want to thank each one of you. Each one of you have been like the face of Christ to me. And I love all the beautiful messages that you each shared. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Laura. And thank you, Luke. And I just want to thank you for all the great work you're doing at L'Arche and for joining us today. And dear audience, please make some time to support L'Arche, to learn about them, to join them if possible. They're doing some really, really great work. So thank you once again. And now I'd just like to share a few other things that the Shrine is doing before we conclude. We hope you have enjoyed this webinar brought to you by the St. John Paul II National Shrine. While the Shrine is currently closed because of the coronavirus impact, we are planning several future online events to help bring the Shrine to you. Please be sure to visit our website or follow us on social media, including YouTube, in which this video will be reposted that you can share far and wide. And you can also learn about upcoming virtual events, webinars, exclusive digital content like our Art of Prayer series. You can stream Mass online, stream rosaries online during the month of May. And you can also stream the prayer at the Hour of Mercy. Thank you again to L'Arche for joining us. God bless you, stay safe, and be well.